Okay, so hopefully we have Arduino downloaded. I have a shortcut put on my desktop here. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the Arduino IDE. So here we go. You can see when you first open it, it has a little bit of the code here for you. I think we talked about this briefly. Once again, this void setup right here, this is just your initial setup. So we're going to set up, in this case, an LED. You can see there's this is just a comment, and it simply says, put your setup code here to run once. These little double backslashes here just indicate that it's a comment, so it's not actually code. So what the program does, it skips lines here, and it's just comments for your users. And you can see that's down here again. So this part right here, this is just a comment for the user. And we could use that to our advantage to kind of help comment so we know what parts of our code are doing. As far as what we need, other than the Arduino IDE right here, we need our Arduino Mega board. We need a breadboard. We need 2 of the jumper cables. In this case, I have a black and a red. The color doesn't really matter, but black and red just to kind of have a little differentiation of color. I have 1 LED. One thing of note here, the LED, if you can tell, it has 1 longer leg and 1 shorter leg, and that's going to be important for us. Make sure we can tell the longer leg and the short leg, and I'll explain that here in a little bit. And 1 resistor, and in this case, the value of the resistor isn't terribly important. I don't want to go too much into calculating values of resistors. That could be a thing to troubleshoot later if our LED doesn't work, but we could talk about that. We'll get the program going, up and going first. So as far as the program, we need to set some things up here. So in order to set stuff up, first we have to start inputting our setup. So in this case, we want to set up an LED. You don't have to do this, but for readability sakes, I'm just going to tab in. So my cursor is 2 spaces in here just for readability purposes. It does not affect the program. So the first thing we want to do, we want to set up different pins. So if you remember on the Arduino board, we have all these different pins that go around the board. We're going to be using pin 13 in this case. So let's set up pin 13. So we do that simply by typing in pin mode and be sure that the M is capitalized in between here. This is called camel case. And if you think of a camel with the hump in the middle, and you can see it turns a different color here. So as soon as you hit pin mode, all one word, you'll see it turns like a kind of an oranges, it changes colors. So we're going to do pin mode. And then in parentheses, we just need to add what pin? Well, we're going to use pin 13, a comma, and I'm going to add a space there. And the LED is an output. It gives us something to see. So I'm going to type all capital letters output. That's all capitalized. You can see it'll turn, again, a different color. That's all we need for the setup. So I'm going to close our parentheses. And to end this line, we put a semicolon. Okay? So that's basically it for our setup, since we only have 1 LED. Couple things here. Don't forget the semicolon. If you miss a semicolon there, it's going to give you an error. So that's important. Let's go down here to the loop part. And what the loop means, it's going to repeat over and over and over again. So for the loop, let's go ahead and start coding that. And the way we code that is digital, since we're using a digital pin, which is pin 13. And we want to write to that pin. And again, you can see we're using camel case here, a capital W. And you can see it changes color once you do. We're going to start our parentheses. We want pin 13 to be going, and we want our output, remember the LED is an output, we want this to be high, and this is all capitalized. That's high. And what high means in Arduino terms is that it's on. So we can have 2 values. We can have high or low. High is the LED is on. Low is the LED is off.